It says Arioso in the score. Now, is that the same word in Russian? Mm-hmm. Okay. Which, for all of you that might not know, the difference between an aria and an arioso is a little less structured, more with the inflection of speech, on the shorter side, lacking repetition in terms of structure, like an A section, then a middle section, returning to A, or in many famous arias like Sempre Libera, when you have an aria and a cavaletta. So this is it comes close to the beginning of the opera, no?
Yes.
Okay. In a way, it introduces your soul,
right,
to the audience for the first time. We have a story going. I'm assuming that all of you know the story of Iolanta, basically. Does anyone not? Okay. Based on a Danish, would you call it a fairy tale or a play?
It's a play.
Okay. But it has fairy tale feeling to it. And then you've got a king with a blind daughter. He doesn't want her to know the truth. So on pain of death, no outsiders can ever come into the garden where she spends all of her time with her maid. And no one's allowed to ever discuss the fact that she can't see. And no one's allowed to talk about the subject of light, that light exists. So basically, and figuratively, she's kept in the dark, out of the love of her father, who is the king of the land and very famous and powerful. But for him, that's the best solution, is to just leave it the way it is, don't ever let her know. So, in this introductory piece, why don't you tell the audience, basically, what are you asking Marta?
Sure. Well, she's just had this feeling that something's not right. And it's the first time she's ever felt that way. And she says in the beginning, everything has always been so good. I've always joined in with the nightingales and the other birds when they're singing, and triumphant chorus when they sing, I sing. And all of a sudden, things just don't feel right. And earlier, she mentions that Marta can tell she's crying, but she hasn't touched her, and she doesn't understand that, because she relates by touch. And so she goes on, and she says that she's very disturbed by this. She's very concerned. Why aren't things happening the way they should be? And she keeps repeating why,
right.
Why.
So it's all of these phrase shapes in this arioso are questioning phrases. The general phrase shape is beginning, arch, end. But for me, these phrases, and they come in quick succession, because it's also like talking, because it's an arioso, they should begin with a questioning feeling and end with a questioning feeling, for the most part. Do you have any hard statements in this piece? Or, just a statement. Take a look at all the punctuation.
Sure.
Let's say the first phrase for us. Keep going. Comma. Comma. Question mark. So it takes us half a page to get to the end of a question. And when we start painting phrase shapes and how to connect, what connects you between them?
I think the thought keeps moving.
What
forward.
else, literally?
Literally. The piano.
The orchestra.
Yes.
The orchestra.
Yes.
Always think orchestra and opera. Tchaikovsky, we're at the height of the Romantic period. Not only orchestra, but larger orchestra. So you're going to be singing in a bigger way than you might in a Bach Magnificat, Sure. Okay? So, the orchestra and you are having this dialogue. And you haven't even really finished a question until 2/3 of the way down the page. Next one. And stop her if she has any wrong Russian, please. Brad, thank you for helping us with this.
Чуть услышу я птиц щебетанье, чуть тепло оживи дальний бор.
Comma.
И везде зазвучит ликование.
Have we reached the end yet?
No. Я вступала в торжественный хор.
And now we did.
Yes.
What do you have there?
She's saying I joined
Punctuation
the
wise.
Oh, exclamation point.
Exclamation point. What did you just say? In a nutshell.
All these birds have been singing, and I always join in the chorus because I've always been happy.
So that's not a question.
I've been happy.
Yeah, and look, we're being set up for a big love story here, you know that. She's growing up, so even though she's blind, she's questioning. And who's going to come along soon enough? Who's singing the tenor today?
Well,
yeah, you know, the knight in shining armor, literally he's a knight from Burgundy. This takes place in Provence, I believe. So we're getting ready for the knight in shining armor to come and answer all of your questions. But right now, no one can answer them. No one's allowed to answer them. So the orchestra answers you. And you're there in your loneliness with your questions, a maid that can't say anything upon pain of death. And now, what's your next sentence?
A теперь мне дом навигает, непонятный глубокий упрек. И у кори судье посылает, чичекор и шуматнящий поток.
Now, am I hearing a rhyme scheme as well? Is that throughout the whole libretto?
Not entirely, no.
Okay. The brother of Tchaikovsky, Modest, pronounced correctly, wrote the libretto. How would you rate the libretto in Russian in terms of 1 to 10, in terms of craft?
Well, his brother, the composer, really beat him up on the libretto, meaning that he kept cutting it down and down, and wanted more efficiency in the text. So it is there, and also the other issue that we're dealing with the translation, because it's from Danish, and so Tchaikovsky was the brother, I should say, the composer, because two brothers were working on it. And so the composer, he couldn't wait to see the translation, because he's thinking, he pulls out those melodies right out of the words, you know. So words were very important to him. Efficiency was important.
So did he write the melodies first or after?
No.
Interesting.
Always from the words, from the text.
Okay. So we're only on the third sentence. And what punctuation does it end with? A period? Is that a period there? I just got new glasses today.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Yeah. Is that a period? Okay. So we've got question, exclamation point, period. 3 phrases. They shouldn't sound the same. Okay. Turn the page. The orchestra answers you again. Now we have kind of a new figure in the accompaniment. It's a bit more active. Well, what are you saying? Read the phrase in Russian.
А чего это ночи молчания? И прохладные ладони стали мне.
How's she doing?
She corrected.
Good.
А чего
Wait,
я...
was that the end?
Yes.
And what do I see there?
Question.
Another question mark. What is the question?
Why is this comforting to me? Why is the cooler comforting? Why is the field comforting? And then she goes on to say, why is the, well, in the next phrase, that's not a question.
Go ahead.
А чего я как будто рыдания слышу там, где поет соловей, а чего скажи, скажи, Марта. And in that
Wait, you gave me 2.
Yep.
Give me this next
Okay.
question. What was it?
She is saying, why is the weeping of the nightingale bothering me now?
So something's disturbing you about
she's
it.
hearing is bothering her.
Now you have a little tiny question.
Why? А чего? Скажи. Why? Tell me.
How many times? 3 times.
And then she says, скажи.
With different markings on each one. A tempo, allargando, a little crescendo, and then the very last question mark, exclamation point, both. This little phrase, say it to them.
Скажи, Marta.
And you have her singing it after the music ends?
Yes.
Tradition? Okay. And it just hangs in the air, and he wrote parlando, which means spoken. It has pitches, but it should just hang in the air. I don't know many arias or ariosos that just end with nothing under them and a little question. That's such a beautiful thing, and you want to do something with all this, okay? So,